Namaskar. Welcome to this edition of News Bulletin. In the headlines today, vision, action, discipline and hard work are the hallmarks of an achiever, says Mr. Deepak Chatraj, CEO RSTV. Exquisite Garden inaugurated in administrative block complex of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant. And fire safety demo cum awareness program organized at SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant. Coming to the news in details, vision, action, discipline and hard work are the hallmarks of an achiever, said Mr. Deepak Chatraj while addressing in a function organized at Indo-German Club on 2nd January to felicitate achievers of the steel plant. Mr. P.K. Das, former ED Works, Mr. D.K. Mahapatra, former ED MM, Mr. S.K. Acharya, former CGM Fire and Safety Services, and Mr. S.K. Rama, former CGM Power Plants were felicitated on the occasion. Mrs. Raka Chattaraj, President Deepika Mahila Sangati, Mr. Rajveer Singh, EDPNA, Mrs. Suman-Lata, Vice President Deepika Mahila Sangati, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, ED Projects, Mrs. Kiran Sinha, Vice President Deepika Mahila Sangati, all the CGMs and HODs along with their spouses were present in the event organized with due adherence to COVID norms. In his address, the CEO praised the contributions of the felicitated achievers for the roles played by them in making RSP what it is today. Mr. Rajveer Singh and Mr. Pankaj Kumar also elaborated about the individual contributions of the achievers in the growth and prosperity of the steel plant. Mr. P.K. Das in his address narrated about the various challenges he had faced in his 39-year-old journey in SAIL in general and Rourkela Steel Plant in particular. Mr. D.K. Mahapatra in turn shared nuggets of information and anecdotes pertaining to the areas he had worked in RSP. Mr. Chatraj and Mrs. Raka Chattaraj felicitated Mr. P.K. Das and Mrs. Suprabha Mishra Das as well as Mr. D.K. Mahapatra and Mrs. Meenakshi Mahapatra. Mr. Rajveer Singh and Mrs. Suman-Lata felicitated Mr. Subrat Acharya and Dr. Sumitra Ratho. Mr. Pankaj Kumar and Mrs. Kiran Sinha felicitated Mr. S.K. Rama and Mrs. Sangeeta Rama. At the outset, Mr. C.R. Mahapatra, CGM in charge MM, welcomed the gathering while Mr. P. Nigam, CGM FNA, proposed a formal vote of thanks. Ms. Archana Satpathy, DGM PR, was the master of ceremony. An exquisite garden was inaugurated in the administrative building complex of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant by Mr. Deepak Chatraj, CEO RSP on 4 January. Also present on the occasion were Mr. Rajveer Singh, EDPNA, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, ED Projects, Mr. C.R. Mahapatra, CGM in charge MM and Marketing, Mr. Praveen Nigam, CGM Finance and other senior officers and employees adhering to the norms pertaining to COVID-19. The beautifully designed landscape garden boasts of a tastefully crafted gazebo and a striking steel bridge over a pond. Embellished with green lawns, flower beds, beautiful landscaping and tastefully decorated lighting arrangements, the complex is an absolute visual treat. The enchanting ambience created at the garden will no doubt have a soothing effect on the employees. The major job has been carried out by the Civil Engineering Services Department of RSP, while structural and fabrication shop has been developed, the steel bridge and the ellipse jobs have been carried out by the field machinery maintenance. Mr. Deepak Chatraj, who has been emphasizing on not only improving the performance of the plant in every respective, but also to engage every employee creatively and providing them the best of the amenities, expressed happiness over the splendor of the garden and congratulated all the units associated in its creation. A fire safety demo cum awareness program was organized in the Hot Strip Mill 2 department of SAIL Rourkela Steel Plant on 26 December. Around 32 employees had participated in the awareness program with strict adherence to the COVID-19 guidelines. Different aspects of fire prevention was discussed in the program with focus on types of fire, usage of fire extinguishers for different kinds of fire, and fire extinguishers principles, LPG safety and home fire safety. First aid preliminary firefighting techniques were developed along with theoretical inputs on basic chemistry of fire. Hands-on training on the usage of fire extinguishers was also provided to the participants. The sessions were conducted by Mr. Kajal Kar, MOMT Fire Service under the guidance of Mr. J.B. Patnaik, DGM Fire Service. That's all from our news desk today. Namaskar.